Good evening. Sorry. Welcome back and good evening, everybody. Let's begin this study session of Urbana School District 116. Roll call, please.
Member Sherrill, Member Hickson.
Here.
Member Marabou.
Here.
Member Jones.
Here.
Member Langendorf here. Vice President Baxley.
Here.
President Pulowski.
Here. We do have a quorum. Are there any additions, corrections, or modifications to tonight's agenda? No? Okay. There will be an executive session following tonight's meeting so the board can discuss collective bargaining matters between the district and the UEA. There will be no action taken by the board following the executive session. Are there any citizens here tonight wishing to make a statement for the board? If so, there's goldenrod sheets in the back of the room you can fill out and hand it to our recording secretary, Lori Johnson. Lori, have you received any yet? Okay, going once, going twice. All right, moving on. The chair would then entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda as published.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now it's time for board reports. Any board reports this evening? Okay, great. Moving on. We do have two action items, starting off with our administrative personnel items. Angie, do you want to provide context for the board?
Yes, so we have two of our administrative candidates that we're bringing forward to the board here in the audience tonight. So Maria and Kelly, do you mind coming up to the important table over here, please? I have a glare on my screen, but I don't know if it's going to be help, so I'm going to do my best. Yeah, that's okay. All right, so first I'm going to talk about Carrie Surratt. Carrie Surratt is currently on vacation, and she's going to be, pending board approval, the new assistant principal at Leal. Carrie's been teaching in the Urbana School District for the last 9 years, teaching second grade, co-teaching, and her most recent position was the Tier 1 interventionist. Before that, she taught 4th grade and 7th grade math while coaching basketball. Carrie has also served on the school improvement team, being a teacher mentor, the garden coordinator, the PTA president, and many curriculum committees. Carrie's also the track and cross-country coach at her children's school. She lives with her husband, Aaron, 2 daughters, Emily and Sarah, and son, David, in Champaign. In her spare time, she watches all 3 of her children compete in sports. And I'm sorry that Carrie is not here to be formally introduced, and she did not want to take precious vacation time either, writing a really bio that really reflects the work that she's done at Urbana. So Maria Parker, Maria, if you want to wave. Maria Parker is an educational leader who is passionate about creating positive, student-centered learning environments where every child can succeed. She believes that strong relationships, high expectations, and collaborative leadership are the foundation of a thriving school community. Maria began her career in education as a teaching assistant before becoming a middle and elementary teacher and later serving as a dean of students. These experiences have provided her with a well-rounded understanding of student development, instructional practices, school culture, and educational leadership. Throughout her career, she's been committed to supporting students academically, socially, and emotionally, while partnering with teachers and families to promote student success. Mrs. Parker earned a Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education from Eastern Illinois University, a Master of Arts in Curriculum Instruction from Western Governors University, and a Master of Arts in Educational Leadership with a principal endorsement from Eastern Illinois University. As Maria begins her 14th year in education as an assistant principal at Dr. Preston Williams Elementary School, Maria is dedicated to fostering a safe, welcoming, and school environment where students will be empowered to grow, educators will be supported, and families will feel valued as essential partners in education. Her leadership philosophy is rooted in empowerment, accountability, continuous improvement, and a steadfast belief that every student can achieve great things when they are supported, challenged, and encouraged. Mrs. Parker is honored to become part of the DPW family and is excited to contribute to the school's continued tradition of excellence while helping every student discover their strengths and reach their fullest potential. Miss Maria Parker comes to us from Danville School District. And Kelly Crawford, if you want to wave. So Kelly is returning to Urbana, and we couldn't be more excited. Kelly Crawford is a lifelong learner who believes that effective leadership begins with a commitment to continuous learning, meaningful relationships, and empowering others to grow. Throughout her career, she consistently pursues opportunities to expand her knowledge, to improve outcomes for students, support fellow educators, and build sustainable systems that support both students and staff. Kelly began her certified teaching career with the Urbana School District in 2011 at Urbana Middle School as a special education teacher. Before that, she spent 4 years as a paraprofessional, serving 3 years with the Kankakee School District and 1 year at Yankee Ridge. These early formative experiences laid the foundation for her passion to serve students while supporting teachers. During Kelly's 7 years at Urbana, she served as a resource teacher, a co-teacher, a professional development cadre member, team facilitator, new teacher mentor, and therapeutic crisis intervention trainer. She also served as an extended school year teacher at Gerber every summer from 2011 through 2018. Observing the extraordinary work and dedication of the teachers and support staff at Gerber, Kelly was inspired to ensure every student experiences a true sense of belonging with meaningful connections that allow them to feel seen, valued, and loved. Committed to continuous professional growth, Kelly earned her Master of Education in Curriculum and Instruction with an emphasis in differentiation from the American College of Education in 2017. She then joined Rantoul City District 137 as an instructional coach, where she partnered with teachers to strengthen instructional practices through coaching, modeling, and professional learning. Following that position, Kelly transitioned into district administration, serving as the special education coordinator, special education administrator, and currently assistant director of special education. While in these leadership roles, she completed a second Master of Education in Educational Leadership in 2020, followed by her Director of Special Education endorsement. And again, I want to remind everybody that she started out as a paraprofessional and has really done some pretty amazing things. Throughout her tenure at Rantoul, Kelly has led district-wide initiatives in co-teaching, special education compliance, crisis prevention, behavior systems, threat assessment, and professional learning. She's also played a critical role in the development of the district's new teacher mentor program, helping the program expand from building level support to one-to-one mentors. Kelly has designed and facilitated more than 300 hours of professional learning for educators, paraprofessionals, administrators, and related service providers on topics including inclusive practices, co-teaching, specially designed instruction, UDL, artificial intelligence, behavior supports, and defensible IEP development. At the heart of Kelly's leadership is the belief that inclusive practices are not a program or initiative, but the expectation that every student with a disability has the right to belong, participate, and learn alongside their peers. As a certified senior-level crisis prevention institute instructor, Kelly has extensive experience providing professional learning on crisis prevention, de-escalation, trauma-informed practices, and the Illinois State Board of Education's regulation for the use of physical restraint and timeout. She's passionate about helping educators develop the knowledge and confidence to prevent crises whenever possible and to respond safely, legally, and compassionately when restrictive interventions become necessary. Kelly believes the most meaningful educational change happens when educators continue learning alongside one another. Her mission is to help schools create systems where students belong, educators feel supported, and every learner has the opportunity to succeed. Kelly is thrilled to return to Urbana as a district-level administrator, where she looks forward to serving the students, staff, and families of the Urbana community. So it is our privilege to bring forward these 3 outstanding candidates. Carrie Surratt's going from teacher at Thomas Paine to Leal as assistant principal. And again, she could not be here tonight. So we are requesting formal board approval.
Thank you for that additional context. Board, is there a motion to approve the administrative personnel items that were published in our board packet?
So moved.
Second.
Moving to second. Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Member Hickson,
Yes.
Member Marabou,
Yes.
Member Jones,
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Baxley,
Yes.
President Pulowski.
Yes. Congratulations and welcome back to the district. If you can say something if you like to.
Oh, working?
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be great. There you go.
Oh.
Okay. I'll just say thank you so much. I'm thrilled for the opportunity. Even more so, I'm ready.
Yay. Yes.
I would like to say thank you for the opportunity. I can't wait to serve our students and this community. Thank you.
Thank you both. 8.2 is a list of long list of personnel items that's typical for this time of year. Is there a motion to approve the personnel items that were published in our board packet?
So moved.
Second.
Move second. Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Member Marabou?
Yes.
Member Jones?
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Baxley?
Yes.
President Pulowski?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next up are our study topics, starting with 9.1, the 2026-2027 beginning of the year school improvement presentations. I'm not sure what order we're doing this.
We are following the order that you have in your slides, so they know when to come up. So, as you know, in the spring, we focused on end of the year progress on their school improvement goals and plans, and how they met with their teams shortly after we presented to the board. And so now they have completed their school improvement goals and action steps for this school year. So they're very briefly going to summarize, and again, they will be back later in the year to share more. So we'll start with you, ECS.
Good evening. I'm Katie, the principal at Urbana Early Childhood School. A quick snapshot of us is that we, as you probably know, we can serve up to 360 students. We're funded by a grant from now the Illinois Department of Early Childhood. And in the last school year, we did see some good growth in our math and literacy goals, and we want to keep that going. But we recognize that the importance of stressing regular attendance is something that we need to continue to work on. So we have developed 4 goals. Our first goal is on SEL, and the way this goal is written is that for the first time, UECS will use the Panorama Teacher Perception Survey of students to look at their emotional regulation, social awareness, and engagement. So we don't have a baseline yet, but we're going to do that this fall, and we hope to see some at least 5% growth from fall to the spring. In math, we are going to continue to work on our goal of increasing students' ability to connect quantity to numbers. So if I say I want 5, they'll be able to hand me 5 items. In a small group of students that we really have identified we need to work more closely with are students who have identified disabilities and they already have an IEP. And so we are going to work on doing that by some specialized instruction and focusing on the teaching of intentional teaching of these skills to students in that group. In literacy, we felt like we had really done a great job with our basic concept skills, so we moved on to a different area of literacy, and we are going to work on growing oral language skills through story retell. And we use a assessment system called ELS, and so we have a growth measurement from last year, and we hope to increase that average growth for this school year. Again, we'll focus on our students with disabilities and focusing on that intentional teaching. Some homework and practice and cooperative learning are some other adult strategies that we're going to use. And then our 4th goal is culture and climate. We did a pretty good job of this last year, but we want to keep working on reducing our overall number of referrals, incident reports that we call them, and specifically focusing on our Black male students and physical aggression. And this slide kind of tells you all of the strategies and adult actions that we're going to use. We're really going to focus on PBIS and using our MTSS strategies and process with more fidelity. And I think what's important to note is that we have quite a few adult actions that we need to be focused on as the school staff and the adults that are working with children, because it's our responsibility to teach them these things through our actions. And then this slide just tells you about how we're going to monitor them. Do you have any questions about our plan?
Board members, any questions tonight? No, thank you.
Okay, hello. I'm the principal at Thomas Paine Elementary. I was here in the spring, so I won't go over too much of our celebrations. We met all of our goals besides attendance. So we saw great growth in both math and reading and a decrease in discipline referrals by like 40-something%, 44.9. How do I go over? Oh, okay. So this year, my great leadership team challenged me to extend our growth target for math and reading to 65 versus the standard 60 required by the state or our district. And so that is our new goal. Attendance, again, we have work to do there. So increasing by 6 points from 69 to 74% consistent attendance. And then culture and climate, since we did see such a great decrease in discipline referral, we're going to now, we use our panorama survey from the student perspective. So we're really going to hone into what the students are saying and how they perceive school and targeting their social awareness. And then through that, we're going to continue using our high yield instructional strategies, which is our cooperative learning and our note taking and summarizing. So just doing small things very well, not overwhelming staff, and then we're partnering with ROE and then the U of I small urban communities to do PD specifically around foundational reading, just because it's a deficit on like just providing quality PD on how to teach reading to tie in with CKLA and the science of reading. So that will be the work this year, and then some cooperative learning in math with, why am I blanking on with building thinking classrooms with Brad. Yep. So he's gonna work with our 4th grade team and then do some like 2 full PDs with our school. And that's it. Any questions? Thank you.
No, thank you.
Hello, good evening. I'm Lydia Wong, the principal of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary.
And I'm Tanya Turner, the assistant principal.
So we have served 318 students, and our students have come from a very diverse background. The biggest celebration that we had last year was starting to close the gap in reading, as we have accomplished our reading goal and exceeded our Smarty reading goals, a goal that targeted our Black population as well. We had a goal of 55%. We ended up with 58% growth. So this year we will be continuing to improve the our reading and math growth, as well as improving our school climate as a whole.
All right, for our goals for this next school year, for attendance, we're going to increase our consistent attendance from 66% to 71%. You want to see that increase across the board. For math, we are going to increase our student meeting or exceeding the growth projections from 44% to 60%. Similar to ELA, the growth projection for kindergarten is supposed to be 59. And then we're going to increase all grades to 60% from their baseline, so across the board. And then culture and climate, our goal is to increase positive school climate for students, staff, and teachers. And if you can see right there, 36% for teachers to 46. Staff, we're going to increase from 17 to 27. And students, 35 to 45.
The way how we're gonna do, how we're gonna achieve those goals are through the strategies that we indicated in our school improvement plan. Those strategies specifically target our specific goals. So we have strategies for our attendance, continuing our Tier 2 attendance strategies, working with our SEAA, and having a one-on-one support with our families when it comes to attendance. When it comes to supporting culture and climate, we're continuing our CHAMPS effort, as well as just unpacking the philosophy of how to respond to difficult behaviors with all of our staff and getting on the same page about those adult responses. And in math and reading, we're going to focus on our multisensory instruction and how to reinforce the students' effort and provide recognition. And some adult actions that come with those strategies are also divided by the goals that we have. So for attendance, we're going to have early contact home, already identifying chronically absent students from last year and starting contacting them right off the bat at the beginning of the school year and before, providing everybody with attendance handbook and handout to really emphasize how much impact the chronic absenteeism does negatively on students. We will also have a welcome message to families and positive contacts home and providing attendance updates in our weekly newsletters. For the SEL, we're going to focus on community building with our staff as well as students and just building that connection with adults and students. And instructionally, we are going to work on our PLCs and continue run those efficiently, as well as focus on data during our professional learning community time. And we will work with the same group as Thomas Paine, which is Center for Small Urban Communities. They will support our third grade math instruction and fourth grade writing instruction, and we are excited to help out with those grades based on the data of the students' need from last year. We will also be using cool downs and math centers to help our math instruction.
And so we are going to take these strategies and adult actions and we are going to measure the success. So for attendance, we're going to use our panorama data and monitor it weekly and monthly just to keep an eye on it consistently. For math and ELA, we are going to measure that through district assessments. And then during our PLC or our collaborative team meetings, we are going to meet and kind of go over that data and how we can improve our instruction within the building. And then last but not least, culture and climate. We're going to monitor that just with surveys. We have some PD put into place, but really improving our culture and climate with student, staff, parents, community, all around. One team, one dream.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good evening.
I'm talking to this. Talk loud enough. Just celebrations. I know we presented in May, but there's 60% growth. We're excited about that for ELA and math. We're going to look more for some achievements, so we're looking for student outcomes as well. Another huge celebration was like 87% of our students had 2 or less referrals. Sometimes we take the total amount of referrals and we're doom and gloom, but really that's really a pretty good way of looking at it. It seems what we're doing for Tier 1 instruction and all the different activities we're doing, combining them together and making students have a sense of purpose and ownership in our schools really worked well. But we do have some friends that we need to give some additional resources to make them successful here at school and in life. Which button am I hitting there? Look at that one. Oh, no. John was on my thing. Our attendance, we like the state of Illinois is taking this, instead of looking at chronic absentee rate, we're looking at, consistent attendance rates. Sometimes when you have a 25% rate across the state, when you're looking at individual schools and we're all having that, schools and school districts, it's kind of painful to see. But really flipping it around, we had a huge success last year. We went down to 20% chronically absent, or in a more positive way of looking at it, 80% consistent absentee rate or attendance rate, and now we're looking to go to 85%. So it's been really pretty good team effort, and it's like everyone on board to do that. So we're going to continue to do those different things that we have in place. And Mr. Tursky, our SEAA, has done an amazing job making connections throughout the community, and then even pushing our district into certain areas. So that's been great. Our math and ELA goals we talked about before. 60% of our students are, meeting and exceeding growth rates. We'd like to see that at 70%, but we're going to keep those there where they're at for realistic measures. But also knowing that many of the positives that we've seen in our school and our students is because we've had consistent curriculum, and we've presented it by really excellent educators, and we're making sure that they have interventions needed across the board. And then, as I said before, the culture and climate one is we want to have 90% of our students to have 2 or less referrals, and how we're going to get there. As we talked about, many of the other things everyone else has talked about. At Leo, we're investigating how to do read 180 strategies. All of our teachers went to special training in 3rd through 5th grade, so we use that as an intervention. We're also excited about the district's trauma-informed focus that we're going to have some professional development upon to help some of our students that have had a lot of trauma in our schools and making sure that they're going well. We hope to build on the assessment culture that we've had before, and then also all of our adult actions are, I said this before, is that we do 1,000 little things, right? We do lots of things in isolation, but we're trying to put them together and make sure that everything is working well, whether that's our professional learning community of our adults learning and making good choices, or that is just being student-centered and making sure our families and our students and our teachers are all kind of working together as one. Oh, benchmarks. So this is how we get there. Taking a look at the attendance benchmarks in both Panorama and Skyward. Sometimes they talk to each other, sometimes they don't. But we look at that every day, every couple days, at least for Skyward. Panorama's a little bit bigger process. We're going to do a PD focus. Several of us went to an MTSS, but we got a really good attendance book from Safe and Civil Schools, which provided our CHAMPS training. So we're interested in looking at that book study for our one school improvement team. We have a map data wall, and we're going to add some other parts to it as well. And as others have talked about, our 4th and 5th graders have focused on building thinking classrooms in the last few years, so that's done well. We have a few new staff members who will make sure that they're up to speed with everything. And we ordered a lot of illustrative math center kits, so we hope that that provides us the opportunity for our students to increase their numeracy. Again, another state initiative that's new to the state, but many of us have been using it for years. We're trying to look at the foundational skills of math, just like we looked at the foundational skills of science of reading, and we talked about culture and climate. Any question? And I think I won the amount of time to present tonight.
Hey,
Huh? Challenging my friends in the back.
All our team. Good evening. I almost said good morning. Good evening. Darius Hightower, building principal for Dr. Preston Williams. With me, Mr. Chad Musselman and Maria Parker are our assistant principals. A little bit about our school is right there, about 358 students. Celebrations from this past school year and leading into the next school year. We're just continuing to work to increase AVID school-wide with the addition of 3rd grade this year. So 5th grade has been doing AVID, 4th grade has been brought on board, and now 3rd grade, and we'll continue to work down. One of our greatest needs are things that we're going to continue to work on is just increasing the effectiveness of our core instruction by developing a school-wide instructional framework that integrates AVID, CHAMPS, and of course those data-informed 9 high-yield strategies.
All right, now to talk about our goals for this school year. By the end of the 2026-2027 academic year, our school will increase the consistent school attendance rate from 64% to 70%, using Panorama's attendance data reports. For our math goals, for this academic year, the percentage of K through 5 students meeting proficiency standards in mathematics on NWEA MAP assessment is going to increase from 11% to 35%, with students achieving performance at or above the 60th percentile. Our school improvement goal for ELA, 35% of 1st through 5th graders will meet proficiency standards reaching the 50th percentile or above on NWEA MAP in literacy by spring of 2027. The percentage of kindergarten students scoring at or above benchmark on the Dibbles assessment will increase from 25%, which is our baseline, to 40%, which is a 60% increase. Additionally, at least 80% of kindergarten students will demonstrate expected or above expected growth on Dibbles progress monitoring measures. And last but not least, our culture and climate goal. Our school will reduce the number of incidents of physical aggression, which are categories: physical aggression towards students, fighting with and without injury, with and without injury, I apologize, from 2025-2026 baseline of 296 students down to 233 students, a reduction of 20%, using Panorama's behavioral reports.
That should read referrals, not 296 students. So student referrals for both of those data points.
So I'm going to talk about the strategies we're going to use. Some of the strategies we would use would be student-led goals through community meeting monthly. We're going to use some Avid and Wicker being incorporated into all grade levels, and we're going to summarizing those with those strategies. We're going to summarize and note-taking strategies from Avid. Some of the adult actions we'll take will be we're going to partner with the ROE to help teachers create math interventions to increase those math goals. We're going to have monthly school grade level community meetings to focus on goal setting skills for our students as well as staff.
All right, thank you. You guys have any questions for us?
Questions tonight? No, thank you.
Love some help, please.
It's on. You did it.
Yay! And this is,
And I'm Erica Rudolph, and I'm one of the assistant principals.
and our other assistant principal, Elizabeth Andre, is in a family emergency, but she is part of the team as well and wanted to know her name. I also am excited to shout out, I just want to shout out to our amazing leadership team and the staff that we have and the board and the community, who's all kind of rallied around us to be able to do what we can do with academics and SEL. So our goals, we've grown a lot, and it's our 3rd year, right? We're going and starting to woohoo, and we've grown a lot in our math and our reading. So we want to continue to grow in those spaces in Tier 1, strengthen up systems so that we can have more continuity, more connection between our behavioral and academic systems.
And I get to talk about our goals and where we were last year and where we're headed. So for our attendance, our rate was 72%, and we're looking at going to 85%, and we're going to be using Panorama's attendance data report for that. You'll also notice that that is one of our strategies. We'll be using interventions and some of the guidance from that. For math, we for our 1st through 5th grade students, we had 51% who met or exceeded on MAP, and our goal is to get to 61%, so we've got a 10% jump. For our kindergartners, we're testing them from winter to spring, and we're going to go from 68% to 73%, so we got a 5% jump for our littlest friends. For culture and climate, our baseline data was based off of reports of physical aggression. We had 153 incidents reported of physical aggression, and our goal is to reduce that by 10%, so have 15 less incidents. You'll notice that for our literacy goal that we have a big block there because we do have 3 goals for that. We have ELA, Spanish language arts, and French language arts. Our English language arts 1st through 5th grade students, we had 52% of our students who met or exceeded. Our goal is to get to 80% of our 3rd through 5th grade students are going to be scoring at an average of 3 or above. We're going to be using our BOOF units based on common assessments in language, literacy, and content. For Spanish, 1st through 5th grade students, we had 42% who met on the MAP in Spanish. And we're going to go from, 52% of our 1st through 5th grade students will meet or exceed from their projected growth goal and MAP, Spanish assessment. And for kindergartners, 61%. For French language arts, we use something called the GB+. We had 54% of our students who met on the GB+, and our goal is to increase the number of students who are being tested in our French program to meeting the GB+ to 64%. So how are we going to get there? You'll notice we have a lot of the same things that many of the other schools had, focused on some of the district initiatives, things with CHAMPS, things with 7 Mindsets, all of those amazing things that we have for all of our schools that we get to use. Our presentation would be extremely long if we had to list English language arts, French language arts, and Spanish language arts. So there at the bottom, we have a lot of our strategies that we use in English that then they all work together, they talk together in all of our different languages. For adult actions, walkthroughs, being in the classrooms, modeling, working with our teachers, and of course working with people in our community, increasing communication with our students, our staff, and just everybody, especially using the Parent Square platform.
And as we roll out the different strategies and the implementations for adults and students, we're creating a roadmap of how we're going to monitor that. So these are just some examples of how we plan to monitor attendance growth, math growth, ELA, French, Spanish growth, and then the culture and climate growth. Any questions?
Your French assessment, is that one that's commonly used by other programs in the
Yes.
state?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is this on? Good evening. I'm Jennifer Roan. I'm the principal at Gerber School. Unfortunately, my new assistant principal, Jess Wilson, is not able to be with us tonight, but I'm very excited to have her on board in this new role. Just a reminder, a few things about us. We are the special ed environment that serves just the residents of Cunningham Children's Home. We have quite a large span of ages. We typically serve grades 4 through 12, so that has some unique challenges in it. But some celebrations for us. We made significant progress on MAP growth goals last school year. We're very proud of that. And another thing we're very proud of is our staff retention and advancement. So I spoke about Jess. Jess has moved up from a long-term teacher position into our assistant principal position. We also then had a TA move from the TA role into Jess's old teaching position. And the very few staff that we had leave this year all left to go back to school and further their education, either in education or in social services. So I'm really proud of the impact that our staff are having both at Gerber and in our larger community as we're continuing to kind of grow our own there. Just a reminder, we talked about this a little bit in the spring, but what we've identified as our greatest need is continuing to provide academic and behavioral support to an increasingly mobile population of students who've experienced really significant trauma. And we have just seen that mobility rate kind of explode on us in the past year, definitely, but the past couple of years. So our goals are very similar to our friends in the other schools. We're going to try to continue to work on our math and literacy and try to make growth in that projected growth score. We have a little bit different spin on our attendance and our culture and climate goals.
because our kids live on our campus, we don't have the same kind of attendance issues, but we have kids out of class a lot. And so we are really going to work on that because we recognize if they're not in class, we can't teach them. And we definitely can't give them the same quality of instruction when they're out of the classroom because of behavior as we can give them when they're in the classroom with their certified teachers. And then our culture and climate is, we recognize, especially with the population that we work with, that those feelings of being a part of a school culture, of being accepted and being safe, are huge factors in their ability to learn and to progress as citizens of the community. So that has always been a mission at Gerber School, but we're really going to focus on that. And we've had a long-term Cunningham survey that our students do, and we're going to start diving in deeper in that survey and kind of address how kids are scoring, self-reporting on some of those items, and try to really build that feeling of belonging for our youth. We're going to do a lot of the same strategies our other friends are using, a lot of the same curriculum strategies. We do the illustrative math, we do the HMH, Read 180, Champs, all of those kind of things. I've spoken to you guys in the past that we're doing a trauma-based strategy. We're going to do a lot of PD on that. It's called TBRI. I really think we're going to reap a lot of benefits from that, and our residential partners are using that as well, so that will help us really align in the way we're addressing some of our students' behaviors and needs. And we're going to continue to work academically with Janet Moore to build our math skills, and we're hoping to bring our retired teacher, Cindy Ditchfield, in to continue to push our teachers with their reading expertise. As far as benchmarks go, we're going to measure with the MAP for our academics. We're going to use that Cunningham student survey for our culture and climate, and our teachers have long taken time out of class data, and we're really going to dive into that deep and do some data analysis on the kids who are having the most time out of class and how to re-engage them better.
How does TBRI differ from strategies used in the past? And are there things that could be learned from your implementation of it in our other buildings?
I think one of the things I really like about TBRI, it's not totally reinventing the wheel. It's really kind of bringing pieces from a whole bunch of different trauma-informed strategies in one little neat package. It really focuses a lot on the sensory needs that our kids have because of trauma and some of their other disability issues. It really talks a lot about attachment, and for our population in general, like thinking about the broken attachments that they had in early childhood and how that impacts their relationships moving forward. And then just gives some really hands-on strategies of common language that we can use to redirect behaviors and really try to keep that positive spin on them. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mrs. Carr, principal at the 6th Grade Center, and with me is
Jeanette Delgado, assistant principal at the 6th Grade Center. Nice to see you all.
All right, some of our snapshot. We are going to be serving just over 300 students this incoming year, and excited about that. celebrations. We just completed our inaugural year. Woo, 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 woo. So really excited about that, celebrating that and celebrating the growth that we saw and meeting our proficiency goal in the reading. And one of the things that we're really focusing on is continuing to close those opportunity gaps by increasing and improving our teaching and learning. Our goals listed here, of course, like our colleagues, we continue to focus on improving that consistent attendance rate, which we know is tricky for the sixth grade center with medical noncompliance, but we continue to collaborate with those that we need to improve in that. Our math and ELA goals continue to focus on improving that proficiency rate for our students, and that will continue to be our focus this coming year. And culture and climate, we want to reduce the exclusionary practices in classrooms by 20%. Things that we'll do, like all of our other colleagues, we'll continue to implement the certain strategies that are listed here. And our primary focus is really building the relational capacity in our building, so strengthening the relationships between our teachers and students, student to student, but also within our staff, making sure that we are modeling what we expect to see in our interactions with one another, and then leveraging that with high-yield strategies to help improve the teaching and learning that's happening in classroom spaces. And to monitor that, we'll continue to collect data and analyze the data and then use that to make informed decisions about things that we need to make improvements on while we're working with our students and staff and making sure that our staff are properly trained, providing the PD that's needed to make the adjustments we need to do to ensure that our students continue to learn and grow. Any questions?
One thing that I just thought about when I was thinking, are you going to have any other future collaborations with the 7th grade teachers the coming school year to see what their interpretations are, or their feelings about if this 6th grade class is any more prepared for middle school based on all the work that you've done during the school year?
I know Ms. Delgado and I have talked about making sure to touch base not just with teaching staff there, but with the administrators at the 7th, 8th grade building to ensure that our students have actually been prepared from what we put in place at the 6th grade center. So we hope to have that collaboration, yes. Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Hey, how's it going? Melissa Kearns, principal there at Urbana Middle School. A school snapshot, we have about 600 students. We serve obviously 7 and 8. We're very rich in diversity. We have a lot to be proud of from last year, a lot of growth in academic success, and a lot of school systems that were built to address both learning and behavioral outcomes for students. And obviously we had a lot of growth in attendance as well. And so we're really proud of those things, and we continue to build those systems.
Derek Ely, Associate Principal at Urbana Middle School. The attendance goal for this year. Are we doing it?
Oh, hang on.
Just like we did need.
I got it.
Okay, so the attendance goal this year is a baseline. We finished the school year with 58% of our students reaching consistent attendance. We'd like to raise that by 11% to nearly 70% this school year. Math baseline data. 7th graders had 34% math proficiency, and 8th graders were at 36%. We'd like to raise both of those by 10% at the end of the school year. The ELA baseline data at the end of the year, reading proficiency rate for 7th graders was 41% and 50% for 8th graders. Again, we'd like to raise both of those by 10% to finish the school year. And culture and climate, this school year we had 192 behavior incidents. Sorry, that should be in there. 192 behavior incidents that resulted in an out-of-school suspension. This year, we'd like to reduce that to by 15% to just about 160 incidents that would result in a suspension.
Katrina Williams, Assistant Principal, Urbana Middle School. We hope to accomplish these goals by continuing to implement the STORD framework and CHAMPS practices. We will also implement relational capacity initiatives and provide daily explicit data-driven instructional practices. We will continue to implement our daily 7 Mindsets lessons through our WIN classes and also our cohesive MTSS structures for both instruction and behavior. We will continue to implement and incorporate summarizing and focused note-taking, which is one of the AVID strategies, pre-teaching vocab and continuing close reading strategies to build student comprehension, as well as goal-setting initiatives, and provide student-centered specific feedback during our WIN classes as well. Also, continue to implement collaborative learning to build a deeper student relationships. The adult actions that we want to continue to grow upon, we want all of our teachers to provide high-quality daily instruction that is rooted in high-leverage instructional learning strategies. We want to go ahead and implement AVID strategies school-wide, and we're going to approach that through our professional learning with our teachers in our staff meetings and just ongoing support. We want to continue to encourage student discourse, which is hard for middle school students, but we want to teach them how to have that conversation and to have meaningful and respectful conversations with each other. We will also continue to monitor our student progress, whether it's through common assessments as well as MAP testing. Also engage in collaborative work with colleagues, so that's teacher to teacher, that's admin to teachers, just all around. We also want to continue to build student-centered programming to encourage our student attendance and school success. And of course, we will have progress monitoring throughout the school year to make adjustments as needed.
That's a really big, long list. We're aware of that. But we're excited about the work simply because our focus this year is really going to be rooted in hardcore instructional practices, making sure that our partnerships with the Center for Small and Urban Communities, they're going to be pushing in to support us with building thinking classrooms and math classrooms, and then co-teaching practices for ELA and multilingual dual language teachers. So we're extremely excited to have on the ground support with our teachers in terms of making learning matter, but also making learning really meaningful for students, so that we're able to see even more growth this year. And so this just kind of maps out the attendance, math, ELA, and culture and climate measures, and just kind of the tenets of some of the work that we're looking to do. Oop, that's not me.
Any questions, board?
Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sean Smith. I'm one of the assistant principals at Urbana High School. One of the, starting off with the snapshot, so we have about 1,200 students, obviously grades 9 through 12 at the high school, very diverse student and staff population. Some celebrations from this past year, we did reach commendable status, so graduation rate was over 80%. Met literacy goals for our subgroups of students, and significant gains for all students in those academic areas. Significant reduction in referrals and exclusionary practices over the past few years, and then also cutting chronic absenteeism, which we all know is a big thing to do. So, and one of our greatest needs is obviously to continue closing opportunity gaps for students to ensure that they are both college and career ready. Last year, our attendance goal, so looking back at the baseline data, as of May 2026, 49% of students are indicated in the chronic absenteeism category. Our goal for attendance is by May of 2027 that 42% of students or less will be indicated in the chronic absenteeism category. For our graduation rate, we are continuing to keep that growing, keep it going up. So as of May 2026, over 80% of seniors have graduated. By May 2027, we are hoping to raise that by at least 2 or 3% overall. For our culture and climate goal, really taking a look at those exclusionary practices again. So as of May 2026, we were able to reduce the exclusionary discipline incidents by 11% overall. I also don't know the exact number, but we were also able to reduce the number of students who received exclusionary practices by quite a bit, which was a really awesome gain as well. So our goal for that will be by May 2027. We will reduce exclusionary discipline incidents. We are now including in-school suspensions as well as the out-of-school suspensions in that, and expulsions for all students by at least 10%. Lots of different strategies and adult actions, but most of all, continuing to push for high-yield instructional strategies, focus on literacy, writing, collaboration, inquiry, and organization, which does connect to Wicker, which is a really big strategy of AVID, which is one of our main drivers in being college and career ready, as well as PACE. Continuing to build MTSS systems to support student success. One thing that we're doing for freshmen and sophomore is we're adding some interventions during academy time to really address some of the both reading and math needs, which is something that is hard to do at a high school, but we think we found a little bit of a way to do it, so we're hoping to do that. CHAMPS implementation, as many of the other schools, 7 mindsets. Data protocols during professional developments focus on student pass rate, so really having staff dive into what the data looks like and having them come up with their own action steps that they can use moving forward. Using map data, both literacy and math, to determine student learning and needs. Students creating 4-year plans, again with the PACE programming, and really having them do that in all different angles of their of the school year. Continuing to focus on Portrait of a Graduate, really keeping that at the forefront of all of our goals. The adult actions, providing, again, the high quality instruction, using the AVID Wicker strategies. Again, we're extending AVID again this year to our 11th graders, so we'll have 9th, 10th, and 11th graders being AVID students. And then also, helping to push a lot of those strategies and techniques building wide. Monitoring student progress, creating action steps to respond to the needs, and obviously keeping up with the progress monitoring of our SIP goals all year and adjusting when we need to. Implement necessary interventions to support student attendance, learning, and success. Again, ensuring students are able to create those 4-year plans, either with their counselors, trusted adults, college and career staff that we have, and even some of the new positions that were created to help with the college and career readiness. Building relational capacity and engaging in professional learning and collaboration opportunities as related to our SIP goals. So here with our 3 kind of domain areas, so attendance, graduation rate, and culture and climate, one of the biggest things that we use is Panorama to look at both attendance as well as discipline. Also just kind of, getting the pulse of the building as a whole with both staff and student surveys. For the graduation rate, student course pass rate per progress report, so really, again, using a lot of the PD focus to do data protocols, having teachers take a look at the data, see what's happening in their classrooms, see what's happening in other classrooms, and being able to come up with those action steps to really come together as a course team and drive that home. I think that's it.
Board members, any questions? No. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
And thanks to all the presenters. Please don't misinterpret an absence of questions here to be a lack of interest on the board's part. So much of what you presented here was followed on directly from the presentations you gave us just a couple months ago. So the fact that there are no surprises, I consider to be a good thing. So thank you.
Also, I just want to wish everybody a good luck, good year, and we can see how much work that you do in preparation for it. So I hope you have a very successful year. Thank you very much.
Moving on, we have 4 administrative reports this evening. First up is a memorandum of understanding for the Urbana High School Thomas Paine DPW for the 21st Century Community Learning Centers grant.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay? Awesome. So we have now had the opportunity to apply for 21st Century grants. You may recall that we had them in some buildings for as much as 20 years. Then they lost their funding a few years ago, and it's been restructured, and now it's back. We had applied last year for 3 different grants grouping our buildings together. One was awarded, and that was the high school, Thomas Paine, and DPW grouping. So we were able to retroactively for the first year go back to July 1, this past of 2025. So any after-school programming we had done in those buildings, Thomas Paine and DPW in particular, we were able to get reimbursed that way. It frees up funding then for other things. So we've also had our summer programs this year. I'm not sure if you've seen the kids running around. We were able to expand them and extend them, provide more academic time and more enrichment time to get access to activities that they might not have normally during the school day. So now what is occurring is the grant goes in 3-year cycles. So the first memorandum of understanding is for the continuation grant of the high school, Thomas Paine, and DPW. The grant cycles themselves, it's 3 years, and for each of those years, we're receiving $400,000. So that is split between those 3. So we're also going to write 2 initial grants for our other buildings, King with UMS, and then 6th grade center with Yankee Ridge. The way that the grant is structured, 400 is the maximum that you can apply for. And so you have to take a look at your buildings and determine where your costs are and how you want to spend those funds. We've been very fortunate to have the partnership with the Park District for many years. And we met again last week just to start to work on these grants and see how we continue to partner in the future. We know that we have some things we need to get coverage for. One of the things that I have tried to promise the principals, and we're going to follow through, I just got to figure it out. Monday, in the past, for those 20 years, we were always pulling staff out to supervise the kids. So we're going to work on a strategy. I met with Nikki Baker, and she's going to help me push out to the subs some opportunities for them to be able to extend their workday being paid for by the grant so that we have coverage for the kids during that time. I've also been meeting with Junior Achievement. They have Jessica Bradford had recommended that they did great things in another school district down the way. And so we talked to them and we want to bring them in for some programming as well. At the end of our summer, the recapture program over at the middle school, the kids had high interest in entrepreneurial skills. So that's something that we're looking into. The tricky thing is to find stuff that's going to get those high school students to be willing to stay after school and something that they enjoy. So Jason Gridley and Omari Thomas and myself are trying to find a day to get together. We've had e-game structures on our wish list for the last 3 years at least. And this time around, we have some funding for the supplies. We're hoping that's one opportunity among a few others that we'll be able to offer to get the high school kids to stick around a little bit longer and have sport teams that way. So we're very excited about the possibilities that the additional funding could bring for us. What that also means for us is less funding for after-school programming would be coming from Title I, and that's a huge deal as well. And so tonight, we're just asking you to, hopefully, if you read through the MOUs, if you see anything that's of concern, let me know. Historically, it's always been 10% with the Park District or any other partners that we've had. And they do provide staff and programming to help us in those spots where we have the early releases on Wednesday and then the Monday meetings that go until 4:30. So we're very excited that they would like to continue that partnership.
Well, when are these applications due?
The continuation grant is due August 15th. However, the point for August 15th is that then you get to go retroactively back to July 1st. Right now, we're trying to get all that money spent. When I talked with Dr. Ivory Tatum last spring, I said, I think we need to accept it, but we also need to understand we might not get it all spent by the time the grant runs out, which is August 30th. So we have that deadline. Then for the 2 new grants, those are August 24th. So we have some time there to be able to get that. If you decide you need to wait till the next board meeting, we can make it all work.
Right.
I was going to add too, the Park District also has to take these MOUs to
Yes.
their board. That's another reason why we are asking for you to approve them tonight, to give the Park District a little time to do the same thing that we're doing this evening. So
That all makes sense. Just, you saw where I was going, so.
Exactly.
Right. Any other questions? Okay. Be prepared to vote on these applications later on in our agenda. Okay, Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you have questions, just reach out.
All right. Our next administrative report is for the memorandum of understanding for UMass King and NSGG Low for the CCLC continuation, which we already I guess, covered as well as this.
No, we didn't do. So the CUPHD is the dental, so that's something different.
I did.
Oh,
Sorry.
you did 10.
Yeah.
10.1.
These,
She did 10.1
these were
and
these were
10.2
combined.
together.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
I was just following the agenda.
Yep.
10.3 is a discussion on the e-learning plan.
Good evening, board. Hello, hello. Good evening, Dr. Avery Tatum. Thank you for having me here tonight to present the recommended new updated e-learning plan for the next 3 years. So our e-learning plan expired this school year. So we have to present and come up with a new e-learning plan for the next 3 years. So I do have a presentation. So if it can be pulled up, that would be appreciated. I don't have it memorized, so. All right. The clicker. Okay. All right. So like I said, our current e-learning plan expired this school year. So we had to create a new e-learning plan to be approved by the board, and then the Regional Office of Education, and then the Illinois State Board of Education. So what I did this school year is we sent out surveys to families and staff for feedback about our current e-learning plan. And we also had an e-learning committee that met during second semester of the school year. So we had an elementary e-learning committee, and then we had a secondary e-learning committee, and then we all met together for a final meeting. So I'll present on who was on that team here in just a minute. So the first thing that I want to share with you is just the surveys that were sent out and the feedback that we received from our families and our staff. Okay, so we sent out 2 different surveys. So we sent one out to our pre-K elementary K through 5 to staff and families, and then we sent a different one for secondary because the 2 e-learning plans are different. They look different at the elementary level and the secondary level. So we sent out 2 different surveys, but we asked the same questions. So here are the results. So out of the elementary, we had 162 of our families take the survey, and then 56 certified staff members. And there was like a combination of like, I'm a parent, but I'm also a staff member. And then we also sent this out to our non-certified staff members. So for elementary, those are the count of who responded to the surveys. And then for secondary, we had 146 of our families respond, 72 certified staff members. And then you can see the numbers for if you were a parent, guardian, if you were both, or if you were a non-certified staff member. And so we asked them, one of the questions we asked was what did they think about their overall experience with e-learning? And they had 4 answers. They were satisfied, very satisfied, dissatisfied, or very dissatisfied. So at the elementary, we had 46% satisfied with our current e-learning plan and 21.7% very satisfied. So that's around like 67%. And then we had 18.9 dissatisfied and then 13.3. So that's around like 30%. And then for secondary, we had bigger numbers of it was actually around the same. It was around being satisfied and very satisfied. That was around 70%. And then dissatisfied and very dissatisfied was around like 29%. So it was pretty similar across elementary and secondary, the responses that we received. Did I go backwards? Sorry, I don't mean to go backwards. All right, we're moving forward. We're charging on. So we also asked, what were some of the challenges that you faced with e-learning? As you can see for elementary, the biggest response about the challenge was being able to support, the capacity to support their students during e-learning. And another response was the packet access and organization. And as you can see, the appropriateness and quality of what was provided in the packets. And communication was a challenge to some. And then staff responded that the workload and system management was kind of difficult. And then at the secondary level, some of the challenges were receiving parent-guardian support, which was kind of similar to elementary parent capacity and support. So we really, I'll talk about that in a minute, of how we're going to respond to that. The staff workload was more of a challenge at secondary than it was elementary. Student engagement, how many students are engaging with e-learning was a concern. I think that was by the staff. And then the instructional quality, so what's being, what students are working on during e-learning, and then technology access. We asked the question, do you want to continue with our e-learning plan? And then we had, at the elementary, around 67% say yes. And then at the secondary, it was pretty close too. It was like 66%. And then we ended the survey like, if you could change anything about our current e-learning plan, what would you change? So you can see the responses there. Elementary, I think, was the engagement with the packets. Some did respond that they wanted to add synchronous learning. Some wanted to return to just traditional like snow days or heat days. Adjusting the workload, like adding more work to the packets. For secondary, they didn't want to do e-learning. The recommendation was just discontinue. We can't discontinue e-learning because we have to have an e-learning plan. It's a state requirement. But synchronous learning was on there as well, increase the rigor. But then we also had decreased the workload. So, but that's what we tried to just keep it really simple. And so that was our survey. Does anybody have any questions about the survey?
Is synchronous learning really an option? I mean, would we even have the capacity to do?
I mean, if that's something that we want to look into, we would really have to ask, how are we going to give our students Wi-Fi access at home to be able to do that for all students across K through 12, and making sure that our Chromebooks are really one-to-one and they're working and students have access to it. So it would take a lot of, I think, work to provide synchronous learning. But I think the biggest thing for me would be, would all of our students, would it be equitable for the students that we serve in our district? Yeah. So just some of the frequency of mentions that kind of stood out to us in the survey is like, for elementary, working on the e-learning packets, so what's provided in our e-learning packets. And then, so a lot of it was like what was in the packets. So, and then secondary was just the same thing, kind of the instructional quality and the support provided. All right, so so we met with our elementary e-learning committee. So those are the members there. So shout out to those who gave up their time to serve on these committees. So we had an elementary committee and secondary committee members, and then we had one combined meeting at the end. For those first meetings, what we did was look at our current plan. We reviewed what the ISB requirements were for e-learning. One of the things we looked at, I did not include that on here, I should have, was look at our attendance data from our e-learning days from last school year. So we looked at, how many students were participating in our e-learning plan. Our secondary attendance was a lot higher than our elementary. Our elementary numbers were really low for our e-learning. And then we looked at our survey results. We looked at the feedback from staff and families from our surveys. And then we brainstormed, like, where do we go from here? What do we need to look at? What do we need to update? What do we need to change? And then we met again at the end of the year and for the new proposed plan with all of those updates and feedbacks that we received from the first couple of meetings. So do you have those in front of you, or were those sent to you, the new e-learning plan? It should have been. Okay. Well, the e-learning plan, I didn't put it in here because I thought they were going to be attached. I thought they were sent to you. If not, I can send those first thing to you tomorrow. But I thought that they were supposed to be in the board packet because I didn't see them printed out over there. So, but some of the things about the e-learning plan was that for elementary, we're still going to do packets, but we've made it, this was my summer, putting together e-learning packets. Me, Lisa, and Lena Seiko helped with the Spanish, but we updated our e-learning packets to include choice boards for each subject area. And we also added more subject areas to work on in the e-learning packet. So we added social emotional learning activities. We have ELA, but we also we have ELA, writing, math, science, and social studies. And then, of course, all the fine arts electives. We have PE, choice boards. So there's just a lot of different varieties for students to choose. We kind of differentiated our packets so students can choose what they work on versus just having like one or two worksheets. So, and if they wanted to do more, there's extra work that they could do. So we really beefed up our e-learning packets. We also made them digital so they can access online in case they lose them. That was one of the things for the feedback. But they're consistent across all elementary. So whatever gets sent home for kindergarten is what's sent home for kindergarten across all the schools. So there's just consistency of what students are receiving. Also, with the e-learning packets, we provide folders to put them into the folders. Last year, we sent them kind of all at once. This year, we're going to be more strategic about when we send them home. So if we know, like for the first week of school, we'll send home our emergency packet. And then if we know if there are any, those could be for like if something happens in the school and it's shut down for water or for some purpose. But we also created 4 other packets. So if we know that a heat day's coming or a snow day's coming, we'll just send home one or 2 packets instead of all of them at the same time. So hopefully that will help families keep them organized more. We have an e-learning folder. We also put pencils in each of the folders. So we did a lot of work with the e-learning packets that we send home for elementary. Made them digital as well. You can access those online. And then we saw that we were like, why are attendance numbers so low? Is it because they're not turning in their packets? So we just made like a top sheet that students have to turn in. It's easier for teachers to manage. And then we're going to have the secretaries print out class lists and give them to the teachers and have teachers just like check those who maybe haven't turned in packets so they can turn those back into the secretaries for attendance. We're just trying to figure out, like, to make the attendance an easy process for our teachers, but also kind of figure out like why our numbers were so low. And so hopefully with adding choice and just adding, there's a top packet that students just have to tear out and give to teachers. Like, hopefully that process will be a lot easier for our families and more convenient. And then with the parent square, we saw that communication was one of the things that we saw from our surveys. So we're hoping with Parent Square that will help, but we also have curriculum nights. And so we said during our curriculum nights, we need to have like an e-learning presentation conferences have some more information available. So just better communicating our e-learning plan to our families, because that was one of the things that we saw as feedback that needed to be stronger. And then for secondary, so the state requires up to 30 minutes. So we just changed, it was 20 minutes for each subject. So we said up to 30 minutes of activity. One of the things that we heard from teachers is that they need training on the Google Classroom. So we added that in with new teachers, and we're going to add some trainings coming up here in the school year. But we also are going to talk to our teachers about training our students on how to use Google Classroom. Like, that has to be part of the process as well. Because if they don't use Google Classroom, but they're expected to use it for e-learning, they better know how to use it. So we don't want that to be a barrier. And then one of the things we talked about was office hours. So we changed this last year, where teachers at the secondary level needed to create office hours to be available for students if they need support with their work or have any questions. But we want to make sure that the office hours are held during school hours, and more consistency among departments too, of what they're posting for assignments and then when they're holding office hours.
Hey, Jesse.
Yes.
Since they don't have, I'm looking at the blank one on the ROE's website. I think the only couple of areas that you didn't already talk about were specifically about students with special needs.
Yeah, I can talk about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
English learners, students with unique needs, and how will we make sure that they're accessing everything appropriately?
Yeah, so one of the feedback that we got from the special ed teachers was that for elementary, was that they wanted the packets to be digital so that they can access them and accommodate them. So that's why we made them digital, so that the special education teachers can have access to make accommodations to those. We also made sure that our packets are available in Spanish and French. And so we worked really hard to provide that as a choice for students if they need that. But also their ESL caseload managers can also access those digitally. So if they need to accommodate or accommodate those for their students, they can. And then for secondary, we talked about so the special education teachers making sure that they have access to Google Classroom for their students, and making sure that they're able to post assignments for them and support them. And then for students for secondary level, if they don't have their Chromebook or they don't have access to Wi-Fi at home, they still will have up to 3 days upon returning to school to work on those assignments. And last year when I met with teachers, I always checked in with teachers after e-learning days. The teachers were really great about providing that support to students who didn't have access during the e-learning day. Like if their computer was broken or if they didn't have Wi-Fi, teachers gave them time or printed out work for them to do, like when they came back the next day. Yes.
So we received, the board received a letter from a parent about e-learning, and this parent was asking that we sort of return to in-school snow days. She was unhappy with it. And actually, I've heard from a number of parents. And it was, I think you said 30% of parents would rather have teacher contact time instead of the e-learning days. And I guess I had a couple of questions. This is a teacher attendance day. So I'm wondering, is the teacher required to keep checking email all day for all students? Because you said something about office hours during the e-learning day. But I'm wondering, if a parent had questions about whatever was in the packet, the elementary, the parent of an elementary student could email the teacher and expect to get a fairly timely response back?
That's on the directions on the e-learning packet for elementary that says that if you have any questions about the packet, please email your child's teacher and they will respond. So that's an expectation that we have of our teachers. And it's like I said, it's also on the e-learning packet in the
Okay.
directions. Like if they have any questions, please reach out to their teacher.
Mhm.
Please email them.
And since the packets are put together like way ahead of time, and we don't know when those snow days or other days are going to happen, then actually this is just stuff that's not really connected to what the kids are learning at that time.
No, it is. That is what I spent a lot of time with this summer. So we have an emergency packet that we're going to send home at the first week of school, and it's a mixture of work from like beginning of the year, middle, and end of the year. That's why we have choices and it's differentiated. But we have packet A, B. Packets A and B are really for learning from like August to October, like first quarter, and then like packet C is from like October to December, and then packet D is more towards like end of the year skills. So we did change what was in those packets. So when we send those out, that was one of the feedbacks that we got from the families is that like we received a packet, we had to do day one packet, but it was the beginning of the year skills, and here we are in January, we're past those skills. So we changed those packets to make sure that they reflect the learning that they're currently doing. So that's why we're not sending them all home. And so if we're in December, I'm not going to send home packet A, right? I'm going to send home probably packet C, tell them to send home packet like B and C. So it's more towards what they're learning currently.
Okay.
So we did change that.
Okay. And the fact that they're now they're now available digitally.
Yes.
That really is still not exactly equitable for people who don't have access. And granted, there could be other, I mean, the kid could get it when he comes back, blah, blah, blah. But if the child already is having trouble keeping up, then to say, okay, now you got to go back and do what you should have been doing when you were home because it was snowing, that puts kind of a double load on both the parent and the student who's already struggling to keep up. I mean, I'm old. I really like student-teacher contact time. So I prefer a regular snow day and make them up at the end of the year. But I'm wondering how if this is our way of doing it. I mean, for elementary students, this is not really e-learning at all. I mean, I think that synchronous learning is one thing, but this is really not e-learning. There is no student-teacher contact time here.
Not for elementary. Yeah.
No, right.
Yeah, not for elementary.
And-
But we also think about, too, like equitable and thinking about our students that we serve in our community. So I understand the snow days, and I hear what you're saying. I mean, that was a big discussion amongst our teachers as well, like when we met in the committees. But if we have to make up those days at the end of the school year.
Right.
Right. And to be honest, teachers didn't want to add those extra days on at the end of the school year. So that was feedback that we received from teachers. Majority of them, not because there were some teachers that wanted the snow days, but the majority did not. So,
I have to admit, I asked. I was at a social thing where the regional office of education superintendent was there, and I asked if the state was considering changing this because I had heard so many parent complaints, and he said no. They're not, but that his district, and I don't know where that was, decided not to do e-learning. For me, I don't think it is really beneficial I'll be very honest with you. It's probably not aimed at the kids who aren't doing very well, and it's not pushing forward the kids who are doing really well. And so it's kind of frustrating work for some kids and parents, and it's just plain busy, boring work for some kids and parents. And I guess, and I don't know how we fix that.
Yeah.
But, so I would like to know then how much e-learning actually, is there any synchronous time for the secondary kids?
Not with direct instruction, no, because they get assignments assigned to them on Google Classroom. It could be watching videos with our new curriculum. That's what I love about our new curriculum. It is available online, so students can get direct instruction from like our illustrative math, our into lit, our science, our social studies, because they do have lessons actually for e-learning, so they can assign that, but there's no like direct from their own teacher, like teacher to teacher
Okay,
teaching.
and so, but those e-learning videos are, again, not equitably available to all students. If that's what we're worried about, that some people have Wi-Fi connections and some
Right.
people don't.
Yep.
And then again, sometimes I think the people without the Wi-Fi connections, and this is a sweeping generalization, I know, but they may be the kids who are having trouble keeping up. And they may be the kids then who will feel overwhelmed when they come back to school and say, oh, now you got to watch this at home, or now you got to watch this during school. So I don't know how we fix it, and knock on wood, maybe this will be better this year because the packets are not going home just at the beginning of the year. But I don't really think it's really good beneficial learning.
I've done both. I've been on both sides with synchronous learning and with not asynchronous learning, and with my experience, just it's not new learning, right? It's what's being presented to students, whether it's synchronous or it's asynchronous. It's not new learning taking place. So I've been on both sides, and there's positives and negatives to both sides. So yeah, it's
And
hard
it's
to
not-
make everybody happy and to support all of our students. It's not, yeah, it's a hard decision to make. I don't determine snow days, so I'm not it for that. So and thank gosh I don't have to.
Right.
That's why I'm not superintendent.
And I know it would be hard to make it new learning, but what I have heard is that it's not even really targeted instruction supporting what they've just learned.
Well, that's changed for elementary, right? And then we're working with department chairs on secondary, like I said, to make it more consistent in what they send out and what they're sending out. So that's one of the things we're working with the department chairs to work with the departments this year, what they're sending, because we do have great curriculum, even if it's not new learning, what we're sending to our students, even if it's not teacher direct instruction, there's still good learning that could take place at home, because we all know that review and consistency and revisiting, learning is a good strategy and good for students. So we want to try to make this a positive experience for everybody. And I can tell you our teachers have been fantastic at the secondary level of accommodating those students who weren't able to access it at home. They really work hard with the students to get them that opportunity, whether if it's during homeroom or maybe like instead of these 3 pages, do these 2 pages. Like our teachers are great at working with our students who didn't have that access during the e-learning day. So our teachers are very accommodating to our students.
And I was going to add, I think it does depend on the teacher, because there were some elementary teachers who were putting things in Clever or giving additional kinds of activities for the students to do, who have links and things that they would send out. So to say that every single teacher was just relying on the packet, I don't know at the elementary level that that's actually true. There were some, like our PE teachers sent out a link, and they have all these like activities that they can go into, like a virtual little room where they give them activities that they can do for PE. And so it isn't just packet focused. I think there probably are some folks who just sent the packets out. But then we also have another whole group who send supplementary things too, that they can put in digitally, or they can go into Clever and do these activities. And so there are some
If the
digital
families reached out and
things.
said, what more can we do?
Correct.
But we also, like last year, added things onto our website, our school website, of additional activities that students can choose from at the elementary level. But I need to share some of the packets with you that we've created, because we put a lot of hard work and dedication
I'm
to try
sure you
to
did.
meet all the needs of our students, no matter like where they're at academically, and really giving them a lot of choice to best meet their needs when they're at home without a teacher, and maybe sometimes without an adult.
I wasn't trying to say good work hadn't been done by you to
Right.
improve them, but there is a conflict in our rationale for not doing a real e-learning, synchronous learning. If we say, well, we can't do it because not all kids have Wi-Fi, but all of the extra things that some kids are getting are given by Wi-Fi. And so there is this, our rationale doesn't exactly hang together there.
So we have a lot of students who are going to, like, the center is usually open on, like, the Neighborhood Connection Center
Yeah.
is usually open. A lot of our students are going to daycare centers where they're accessing Wi-Fi there. So we haven't done a study in a while of the number, looking at John, of the number of students, but the number of hotspots that we have out and the number of requests that we've gotten for hotspots has been minimal, because we still have them. And people could ask for them, and we still have the Comcast codes. So to say we have a large number of students that don't have access to, you could do a hotspot on your phone and access the activities that would be online for an elementary student or a high school student. And most of our high school students and middle school students do have phones, so they are accessing a lot of that
And our
content
attendance
through
numbers
there.
at the secondary level are actually pretty good. I was really impressed when I looked at the attendance numbers, and I can send those to you as well. For the secondary during the e-learning days, I was impressed. Like, they were really high. So there was a lot of students engaging versus not engaging. I mean, I'm talking like 90%. Like, our attendance numbers were higher than like regular attended school days. And so, but it's very high at the secondary level. It's the elementary that concerned me about.
I think, and part of that, I agree, improving our communication is going to help that a little
Yes.
bit. Some of the families that I've talked to, there's a breakdown in the work that I do during that day and getting it back to school within the 3 days that I'm supposed to return it. So I think, collecting homework from kids on a regular day in some situations is not really
And sending
high
out reminders and
sometimes,
having your
so I
teachers reach out to the families and just send them reminders. But I think with the parent square too, I've heard it's going to help too. So
communication.
That would be really
Excuse me,
good.
I'd like
But I
an
think the
opportunity.
fact that we have fewer kids asking for hotspots, and that they are going to daycare centers and they are going to the connections place, means that maybe if they had some student-teacher contact, it's possible. And I'd like to at least investigate that. If we can't actually go back to snow days, I think that would be beneficial to students and families, parents. I think some parents are just, they're uneasy about how to help their kids.
understandable. Yep. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I'm I had a lot of thoughts, and I'm trying to write them down as you were talking. I realize that you've made a lot of changes, and based on the input that you've got from parents, so that's wonderful. That's the first step.
Thank you.
And to remember too, there are 30% that didn't like it, but there were 60% that did like it. So we are trying to make it positive for them. As a grandparent who did kindergarten for almost a whole year, I understand how difficult it is for parents to do it because parents weren't available, so grandmother had to do it. But yet, the concept of it was that you had different opportunities. You didn't have to do everything. You could go with what the child was interested in, and the fact that it didn't matter that they weren't reading exactly what they would be reading in school that particular day. The fact that they were reading something and doing some math was helping to maintain or to improve their skills. So I really feel strongly about that. If you provide different opportunities, that they're going to benefit for something. When you come back with, I understand, and I agree with you about the synchronous learning, but when there's a snow day, inevitably there are people that can get out. A lot of people can't because of the snow and transportation. But if we would have those packets available at the library too, the Urbana Library, that way they're open later. So if a parent's coming home from work and there's a possibility that there's going to be a snowstorm, they could run over possibly to the library and pick them up. So if we could partner with the library, that way we'd have more access. And as you said, they go to the connections. They could also go to the library
Love
and
that.
access.
That's a great idea.
And there would be librarians there to help them get on a site if that was a difficulty, or somebody to help them there. Even maybe having a staff member there as well for people who wanted to. Because as you said, the teachers are being paid. So might that be an option if there's, for some reason, there's no heat in the building, that, we certainly don't want a whole school going to the library at one time, but it's availability. And there's possibility that I had other things, but I don't.
That's a really good idea. I love that idea.
That's all.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay. So I have a question. So is it 30 minutes of each activity? So if it's like secondary, it'd be like math, science. Do they have 30 minutes of each activity, or is it 30 minutes? How does that work?
Up to 30 minutes. So we usually tell teachers like 15 to 30 minutes. So it just depends on the activity of what they're assigning. But our the e-learning says that they has to be up to 5 hours of e-learning time. So
for my child, one of them, if we were to do a math assignment, that usually will take us, especially if it's e-learning, it could take us up to 2 hours just for maybe 5 problems. So he's going to spend pretty much most of his time struggling to get that math done, and you won't even get it all done. He'll end up having a meltdown. So I just think that there has to be, especially with kids that have disabilities, is there like limitations for them? Does it follow their IEPs? How does that work?
It should follow whatever is in their IEP.
Yeah.
So that hopefully is something that the team discusses when they have the annual review meeting and talk about what the plan would be during an
I don't
e-learning
think
day.
e-learning has came up in those type of meetings.
And that's
but
something
we can put
talk to
we can put on our agenda when we meet with our school learning team.
Well, we can have Ms. Ladd add that at the beginning of the year for her presentation that she does for all the special education folks.
Yeah, because that does not come up, and I know a lot of them struggle with, and I'm at work, so then trying to
It's
get
hard.
off of work and then doing math, just math, for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then they don't get the attendance because they didn't do
Well, that's
their whole
something that we
assignment.
talked about too, was the attendance. So if a student at least attempted, and like if there were 5 problems and they completed 3, like count them for attendance, like because they put in work and time and effort. If you can tell that a student put in time and effort into an assignment, give them credit for it. That's one of the things that came up that we talked about, and that we added to our teacher guidance at the elementary and secondary. Just because a student didn't complete a packet or complete a page or complete all of the assignments, still give them credit and effort for attempting.
Anyone else? Right. Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Our last administrative report of the evening is about a memorandum of agreement with the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District with regards to the Child and Teen Dental Clinic.
And this is another one that I know it says 11.2, but I think we're requesting it also because they get started on this right away, and so they need to start contacting the schools. So it's in 12.2 to start setting up dates. So they do need this. That's why they send it to us so early. And there is literally no change on this from the one that we review every year. So basically, this is an agreement between the district and the public health department that will provide a physical space for them to provide the dental services. They will, once we sign this agreement and I get it back to them, they will start reaching out to the schools for dates. We provide the space, we provide coordination, we send home their materials, we collect the we collect the signed permission from families to allowing them to do the dental treatments and anything that is needed during the time that the dentists are at our schools. We also collect a lot of that information and we share it with them. So our second graders specifically is a grade level where it is a designated by the state grade where we have to do some required dental looks and preventive dental health services for students. So we collect the proof of dental exam forms that families bring in, and we share those with CUPHD. And then we do some health education throughout the year dental focused health education opportunities are also available. So there really is no change. This is what we've been doing for years and years and years. I know we have been brainstorming on our end because we've seen less participation in the dental clinics in the last few years. I don't know if that's because some of our families have gotten their own dentist and they aren't using the public health department, but we also have dental services at our school-based health center, and so we're going to work with them as well to see if they could do some dental clinics and like shut down the school-based health center for regular appointments and just have dental, because you would be kind of really surprised at some of the condition that some of our young people, their teeth and the number of cavities and just some of the deterioration. And so it is really needed, and it's something that we want to encourage, and we appreciate the support from the public health department that they do this every year. They are very committed and dedicated to it, and so yeah, it's something we want to continue. And we also want to add a layer of including doing something else at our school-based health center. Our health person and our district nurse have a lot of ideas that they've been sharing with me on how we can get more students seen, whether it's at CUPHD or whether it is at the school-based health center, because it really is, dental care is a real huge need right now, especially with our elementary students. So,
Any questions? No. All right, yeah. Okay, we'll be talking about this in a little bit when it's up for vote. Next up is a public hearing. So, as required by law, we are opening a public hearing to allow the public to provide input on the e-learning plan. The rules here are exactly like the rules in our board policy for citizen statements. I'll open up the floor then. The public hearing is now open. If anybody wishes to come forward to discuss the e-learning plan. Go ahead, sir. The same rules follow as for citizen statements. You'll have 3 minutes to provide the board some input.
Sure. Thank you. I agreed a lot with what Jennifer said today. I don't think there's much learning that happens, especially at the elementary school level with the packets that are sent home. As a parent for 2 children that are at Thomas Paine Elementary, I have worked with both of the girls when we have the e-learning days and don't feel that they are learning as much as they could be from a very qualified teacher at Urbana Public Schools. And it's distressing to me that this is the solution. It feels a little bit like it's a cop-out rather than doing due diligence and taking the day, having a snow day, and then tacking it on at the end of the year. That feels like a better solution to me. It's a harder solution, and it's one that is not reflected in the data that was shown. As you know, one of those minority voters in that 33% category, it is a little frustrating to see that. And it's kind of frustrating because as a parent, I know that other families are affected by this process. And I just don't know that we need to be basing our thoughts on whether or not snow days should happen or whether or not e-learning packets should be included, based off of a survey that only 160 some people replied to. So it's a harder decision, and I think that the right decision would be to take a snow day and put it at the end of the year. And that's all I wanted to say.
Excuse me, what is your name?
My name is Nolan Valier.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that. Appreciate your input.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Please come forward.
Hi, I'm Mari Altschuler. I have an incoming 6th grader and a 2nd grader at Yankee Ridge. Thank you for sharing I feel like I should talk to you, Nat, but I really appreciate Jessica Bradford sharing the updates. I do think, I talked to my kids before I came, and I was like, I was curious about the e-learning. What would you tell them? And my incoming 1st grader 2 years ago, 2nd grader 2 years ago when she was in kindergarten, her kindergarten teacher actually had some kind of choice board thing. And this past year, her 1st grade teacher didn't. It was like a more standard worksheet. And she's like, you should tell them to have more choices again. So there you go. That's one voice. I wonder if not a middle ground, but a possibility to address a little bit about what came up in the conversation here would be to have some optional synchronous check-in moment, maybe 2, maybe beginning and end of school day or beginning and lunchtime at the elementary level too. My older kid was a COVID kindergartner, all year was virtual. It was very difficult in all sorts of ways. But I do think like saying hello in the morning kind of starts a school day mentality. And it's not going to be perfect. Packets aren't perfect either. As per the point, everything has benefits and drawbacks. But I wonder if having a check-in point, a la office hours, but at the elementary level, could provide students with a little bit of a mentality that this is a school day and I'm going to sort of check into my academic work, provide parents with a little bit of vision. Here's the teacher, my child's teacher. I see that it's a work day for them too, and provide also an opportunity for academic help if they need it. So that was my one suggestion. But it does sound like the packets are moving in as good of a direction as an imperfect system can be. So I appreciate the work put into them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? All right. That closes our public hearing for the evening. Moving on to our action items. First up is 12.1, which is the approval of the 2026 Urbana High School graduates. This was published in our agenda. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the high school graduates.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further questions, comments, discussion? Not sure, but I think this might be a roll call vote. So roll call, please.
Member Jones?
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Baxley?
Yes.
President Pulowski?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Marabou?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next up is 12.2, the Memorandum of Understanding for Champaign-Urbana Public Health District, which we just discussed. Is there a motion for the floor?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agreement that we've had in the past, again for this year. Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Hearing none, the chair would call for a roll call vote.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Baxley?
Yes.
President Pulowski?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Marabou?
Yes.
Member Jones?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next up is 12.3, the joint memorandum with the Urbana Park District. This is for UHS, Thomas Paine, and DPW as part of the 21st Century Community Learning Centers grant. Discussed earlier this evening. Is there a motion for this specific joint memorandum?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further questions, comments, discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice President Baxley?
Yes.
President Pulowski?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Marabou?
Yes.
Member Jones?
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes.
Motion passes. And last up is 12.4. It's a similar memorandum, but this time with UMS King and SGC Leal. Again, with the Urbana Park District. Is there a motion for the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And again, any further questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, the roll call vote would be in order.
President Pulowski?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Marabou?
Yes.
Member Jones?
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Baxley?
Yes.
Motion passes. There is a call for an executive session following this meeting for personnel, it's not personnel matters, excuse me, for our bargaining matters following our superintendent's report.
Okay, so today we welcomed our new teachers. So this is a very diverse, wonderful group of people. There are a lot of, I would say it kind of was split half and half. So we have 57 new teachers and 53 of them were in attendance this morning. We have about half of them that were brand new, and then the other half, surprisingly, were a lot of experienced teachers. So we have some teachers coming to us from other districts who have experience, people who are teaching as a second career, and then we have a lot of really young new faces, as you can see when you look at this group. So they were very energetic and very excited to be in Urbana, and it was just really great walking around and mingling with them this morning. And I enjoy getting to know some of them throughout the year, and they were all very, very excited to be in Urbana. So congratulations to our new class of 2026 new teachers. So hopefully you've been seeing the emails regarding the DPW Community School Resource Walk on Thursday. I know board members have participated in the past. If you are planning to join us, we'll be at Dr. Williams on the Prairie Gymnasium side of the building at 5 o'clock. We have Ms. Jackson has been doing a fabulous job since she started in July with working with our community partners, getting activities and school supplies and goodies that we can put in the bags, some educational items, but also we're already launching some of our community school initiatives regarding some of the classes that we're going to be teaching. So we have 3 or 4 classes, 3 for sure, that adult ed is going to be satellite teaching at Dr. Williams first semester, a CNA bridge class, a entrepreneurship bridge class, and the ESL class. We have so many ESL students here that we have a large number of ESL students that live in the Dr. Williams neighborhood that now they can walk to Dr. Williams and don't have to get transportation over here to adult education. So we're really excited. The grant is going to pay for those salaries. And the big thing that the grant pays for is child care. And so while all those parents and family members are in classes at night, their kids can be getting tutoring, homework help. We have the ability to have child care even for toddlers, and they have to be potty trained, but not in diapers, but they can come even if they're from UECS. And so all of that information is going to be in the bags. We also have a large number of Dr. Williams families, if you're listening or watching or hear this, that need to register for school. So we're going to have stickers that we're putting on all the bags to remind families that it's time to come in and register. So please join us, and you get a free t-shirt. You know, we love to give t-shirts out for people who do fun things for us. So if you come and walk, you also get to take home one of the We Love DPW t-shirts as a volunteer. So that's that. Welcome back celebration is, this is our second, I'm calling it an annual thing now because we've done it now 2 years in a row. I haven't looked ahead at the weather, but hopefully it won't be 110 degrees outside like it was last year. But we will have school supplies. Quest will be providing some refreshments, hot dogs, chips, cookies. And then we have right now, about 20 community partners that are signed up. So we do like a little community resource fair. And then at 7 o'clock-ish, we walk over to the high school and we get to have a preview of our fall sports students. And so that is an exciting time as well. So bring the family, come out, connect, meet your administrators, and just have fun. So we'll have Kona Ices out there, and we just have some fun activities for the kids. So great way to kind of kick off the beginning of the school year. And the night before, I thought the next one was the schools welcome back night. So most of our schools, if you go to the next slide, John, have their own elementary welcome nights. And all of our elementary schools are doing theirs on Thursday night, since we want everyone to come to the big district-wide celebration on the 14th. So all 5 of our elementary schools have activities planned. You can drop off supplies. This isn't a mandatory night for our staff members, so some teachers will be there, some teachers may not. But it is a nice opportunity for parents to show students where to stand for car pickup, where they're going to get dropped off on the first day of school, where the buses are going to pick them up at. And so it is a nice, especially for our working families who can't bring their students to school on the first day. Coming out on the 13th is a great way for them to get an idea of what the flow and what happens the first couple of days of school. So UECS will have their welcome back night on the 17th, and then our secondary schools, they do theirs a little bit later after school gets started. So 6th grade center, middle school, and high school already have those dates planned, and they've been sharing those through some of their other communications. So we'll go back to opening day. So next Wednesday, I can't believe it is already almost August 12th. I don't know where the summer went, but it went by really fast. But this year's theme is Attitude of Gratitude. It's one of our mindsets. And we're going to focus on gratitude is the best attitude. We have our 7 mindset activities, again, in the cafetorium. Staff members really enjoyed. Some staff members, not everybody is an SEL person, but a lot of people did enjoy the SEL activities that we had before we started the day. The program begins at 8:30 with TMB. Again, our TMB, cheer, the flag, color guard. Thank you. That word just flew out of my head. Color guard will be there. I haven't heard from Acapella yet, but I'm pretty sure they will be there as well. So it is just our way to have fun and really celebrate the first day of school. So we'll be doing that next Wednesday at the middle school. Postcards went out today, correct, Lori? Yes, so those should be going in the mail. And registration. So we've already had some hot topics about registration right before the meeting tonight, but last week we had centralized registration, and oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Sherry said she stopped in to visit and drop off some things, but we had so many families come and in person for centralized registration. We haven't had centralized registration since COVID. So since my first year as superintendent, actually, the next year we started online because we had to distance, and then after that we just hadn't brought it back. But we needed to bring it back because online participation had dropped significantly, and I think our families, they walked with their feet and showed us what they really wanted. So counselors were seeing kids, the stack of health documents that we collected. We had so many non-compliant students at the beginning of the year because of physicals and immunizations, and we had the mobile clinic there on Friday. Promise was booking people constantly for those 2 days. There were people walking in and being seen by the doctors at the school-based health center those 2 days. So it was really a great way to have an in-person, personal connection, and I think a lot of people appreciated the personal connection. So that being said, we still have a large number of people who have not registered either online or in person. So if you are one of those people, school starts in like a week and a half. So we really need you to get in and register. The schools are offering walk-in registration times. We do ask parents to, if you can, to come during these times. We understand that you may not be able to do that, but you can always call the school and make it, like if you need to come on your lunch hour and that's the only time you can come, the schools are definitely going to work with you. But because of the large number of people walking in and registering, they also need time to do other things like work on class lists and work on schedules and input people into Skyward. And if all they're doing is registrations literally the whole day, there's no time for them to do some of those other things that are really important. So the hours are 9 to 11:30 and 1 to 3:30. But again, you can call and make an appointment if you need to come earlier or at lunch to do that registration. Again, I just want to remind everyone that we are asking for proof of residency this year. We've been putting that messaging out all summer and reminding people that they will need to show where they live, so we can ensure that the students that we are serving are actually students who are living in Urbana. And again, if you have a kindergartner, 6th grader, and 9th grade students, please, please, please reach out to your school and they can connect you with an appointment if you have not gotten your physical or immunization done yet. There's still lots of walk-in times at the school-based health center, and the walk-in clinic, the mobile clinic has been in the community, and we have that information on our website as well. I think that might be, and yes, I asked Catherine to add this. So I know board members have been going on the website, so thank you for that. Thank you for those of you who have been sharing your feedback with Catherine. She appreciates it. We have shared it. We opened it up today. I think Catherine sent another email out to the district. People are starting to come back and re-engage from the summer, so it was a great way to make sure that our staff are aware that we have a new website. We also want parents to know that we have a new website. So bell schedules and calendars and the menus, hopefully all of those things are more accessible to our parents. We also have created a staff intranet where we have information for staff in a quick and easy format now. So I want to again shout out Catherine and John and Madeline and the team that have been really, Catherine has done the lion's share of the work, I think, but it has been a team effort to get our new website up and going. And so it is mobile friendly. I think that is one of the huge pluses when you say, John, that our previous website was not mobile friendly at all. And so being able to go to your phone, which a lot of our people, that's how they access technology. We have people that don't have laptops and desktops at home. So utilizing their phones is the way that they access information from the district. So having a mobile friendly website is huge, and so that is something that we're really excited about.
And I will say again, thanks to Catherine, did so much work on this summer. They brought over our content, but it just kind of came over however, and Catherine had to go touch basically every page and add updated pictures, and it just looks so much better now. Mobile, but also there's a lot more dynamic content in there too.
Yes, absolutely. And it integrates with Parent Square, which is another huge benefit. So, and that is it for the superintendent report.
All right, thank you.
Jennifer has a.
Can I just ask a question? I thought we got the board packet still the old way. Are we going to start with the new way of getting the board packet?
We had our first training with Diligent. It was very interesting, but it will also entail board being trained. So we're looking at, I believe, October as a push out with the board, but you'll be receiving some requests to come in 2 by 2 and get trained on how you'll receive the packet. But I need to make sure that we're all on the same wavelength first. So, but yeah, it will be coming.
Good question.
Yep, thank you.
All right. The chair would then entertain, after 5 to 10 minute recess to enter closed session for the purpose of studying collective bargaining matters. There will be no action taken by the board at the close of our executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Member Hickson.
Yes.
Member Langendorf, yes. Vice President Baxley.
Yes.
President Pulowski.
Yes.
Member Jones.
Yes.
Member Marbu.
Yes.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll be entering executive session in 5 or 10 minutes.